The Westside Disc's Catapult is a distance driver that fits right in between the World and the Sorcerer. Let's check it out. Let's start with the feel. The profile is right in between a World and a Sorcerer, like I said. It's got not quite as wide of a rim as a World. It feels just a little bit smaller, and it's nice and deep, so I feel like I can get a confident grip on it. If you don't like grabbing a wide rim, but you still want to be able to grab onto something tightly, I would definitely recommend looking for maybe a little bit of a deeper disc, and that might help out with that. As far as the profile of it, it's not very domey. I haven't seen very many domey catapults, but this actually has a surprising amount of glide for how flat it is. So I had no problem reaching the same distance as some of my domier discs with this disc just because it tends to have so much glide. So my catapult here is in the VIP plastic, and this plastic tends to be fairly grippy but very durable. And discs in the VIP plastic tend to be a little bit more overstable than the same disc in the tournament plastic. Real quick, the stamp on here is actually not a catapult, that's a trebuchet. So, I mean, it matters to me, but I'm gonna chalk it up to a translation error. Let's move on to the flight of the catapult. The numbers on this are a speed 14, a glide 5, a turn 0, and a fade of 3. And I would say that's fairly accurate. I might have just a little bit of turn on it because it is a little bit less stable than the World. It does tend to flip up on a hyzer release or work over to the right on that flat release, but I did notice that it did have that consistent fade at the end to come out when I did turn it over. On a hyzer release, the catapult will flip up to flat and fly fairly straight before fading out at the end, and it does have that reliable fade, and it carries straight for a long time. I was able to reach out comparable with my other distance drivers, maybe even a little bit past them with this disc, just because it does have that glide and it still has that reliable fade at the end, so I could feel like I was very accurate with this disc. On a flatter release, the catapult will work way over to the right. It does have that little bit of turn, but I didn't have to worry about it flipping over too much and diving into the ground, maybe cut rolling or something like that, because it would have that fade to catch at the very end. This is going to be a very far flying disc on that big flex line. I can rip it flat and high and trust it to get over on this right angle, and it's going to be flat for longer, and that's going to help it penetrate forward and stay up in the air before it fades out. And on an anhyzer release, the catapult would hold it for a pretty long time because it does have that turn at the beginning, but the fade at the end was enough that I don't think I could trust this disc to stay to the right all the way into the ground, which means this disc is going to fit more in the maximum distance category or a hyzer flip category for me. I'm probably not going to use it for big turnovers, which is great. You don't want to have a disc that you need to worry about flipping over too much if you're going for those distance shots or those hyzer flips. So I did try this disc on a forehand, and I actually really liked it for that forehand shot. I could start it on a hyzer, and it would flip up maybe a little bit to the left before that reliable fade at the end. I tend to flip over my forehands a little bit too much sometimes, and the reliable fade on the catapult helped me be able to trust that and know that it wasn't going to flip over into the ground. I was at least going to get the distance if I flipped it over too much. I would just be a little bit left of where I was aiming. So that's what I think about the catapult. Let me know what you think about the catapult in the comments below. Let me know if you've thrown one, what shots you throw it for, and I'm actually gonna give this catapult that I've been throwing away to my favorite comment down below. The weight is 173 grams.